What's good? What's good? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's your boy Tavon back with the Emphatic Truth. Just bringing you this Thursday thrill, this triumphant Thursday. Just making sure everybody's going out, having a great day, having a purpose-driven day, going out and living your dreams. I wanted to pretty much keep this podcast today with you short, give you some encouraging words to get you through your day. But the main focus that I'm going to be focusing on for this short podcast is getting past fears, getting past that little doubt, that time that we may have doubting ourselves, feeling unsure, uneasy. And I'm going to just share, with you my personal experience. I could take so many, but the one that I like to communicate most about is my time going to college, that whole transition and how that doubt aspect really played a role into the perception about what I would do and how I would do it in college. So I went to college back in 2011, and this was after probably applying for only two schools. I applied for, I think, Shippensburg University, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, which is the school I went to. And I got into both, but I wasn't really sure about either school. I never went to go see either school. I got in, I just got in. So that whole transitioning phase, that time between me learning that I was going to college and me being able to now go to college, because I went a semester early. I went in June of 2011 and did the 8-credit summer course. So I had no, beach week, none of those beach trips, none of that. I spent my first semester in college, my first couple of weeks after I graduated high school, went straight to college. So that was my short-lived summer. But throughout that time that I was in the summer program, learning these 8 credits, I really got a chance to see how the power of resources and positive influences can be a staple for what your progress is in the future. And we had a good brother there by the name of Mr. Theo, who was the dean of students. So he was very much engaged with the students, keeping them active and giving them life skills and time management tips and the whole nine. So he was at great resources on that Punxsutawney campus for my first year. But with life issues and the surroundings that were around me, it was Punxsutawney, PA. If people aren't familiar, it's where Punxsutawney Phil, where they say the groundhog shows its shadow, that whole good thing. That's where that location is at. So we're in this white rural suburb, okay? And I'm learning, how to manage money, how to manage my time, how to interact with different social groups from all across the country at this point. And it is still this sense of doubt, right? It's still this sense of doubt because, remember, I never even thought about me going to college, using college as that platform for me to actually elevate my lifestyle and my family's. So without that encouragement, without that beforehand knowledge that I needed, my drive wasn't even there. You see what I'm saying? The drive to go out and get 4.0s wasn't even there. It was still doubt that I was even, accepted. Like I was still having trouble figuring out how I was going to make it, after being accepted into this university with poor SAT scores and so on and so forth. So I took this time at Punxsutawney to really use it as my motivation, my inspiration to what I wanted my life to be. So I sort of conducted, if you will, a social experiment on myself. It was more so an internal thing that I was trying to put myself through. Okay, I had to put myself through this test, this trial. And putting myself through this test and trial of saying, you're out here, you had a freshman campus. I didn't make it to the main campus. So I'm out here at the freshman campus. I'm out here during the summer. I can either, do the best that I can, improve myself, right, and really prove this people that, was in my life, make them proud, that sort of thing. But it was more so for myself, making sure that I seen myself in society as someone who could contribute. And that's the important piece that I'm getting at, is the self-esteem is more so how we're feeling about ourselves. But that sometimes can be influenced by outside sources. But the self-efficacy with an E, it really shows how we perceive ourselves in society. How do we perceive ourselves in the workforce, in the education realm? As I said earlier, my education prior was it wasn't really much thought put into it. I was just, going throughout high school playing sports. That was what it was. I got decent grades, not too many C's, but still the drive to actually go on and do this, that, and the third with my life wasn't there. And that's because the more so the surroundings around me, that efficacy, I didn't see it. I didn't see myself in society. I didn't see myself as people oftentimes view themselves with their resources, with their experiences. So, for instance, if we have someone who may be all ready to go to college, and this the underlying idea is that they have a basketball scholarship, right? And the basketball scholarship can now turn them into athlete if they're lucky, or it gives them a full ride and an opportunity to pursue college. So they're at a double win. They don't have really anything to lose. My instance, I didn't get a scholarship. I was paying for college, and everything else was still going on around me. As far as what can I do with this major, what can I do once I actually learn how to maneuver within the field. So it was really a lot of doubt. And what I really took from all that is I picked up one day Eric Thomas's YouTube. I ran across it, and he said, the title was, "How bad do you want to be successful?" Right? How bad do you want to be successful? And I listened to it, and I got the gist of what he was saying towards the end. And what he said was, when you want to breathe as bad as you want to succeed, then you'll be successful. And that's something that I have to remind myself and live by every day. If you want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then that's the only time you're going to be successful. Because then you will eliminate all the excuses. We all oftentimes get filled with excuses about this, that, and the third when we don't necessarily want to do it, when we don't want to take on that responsibility to do it. And we oftentimes break our necks on the other end when things aren't our responsibility and we're not getting that fulfillment out of it. So what I figured out for myself was it was very much important that I took the time out for myself. I invested in myself. I invested in my self-worth and me encouraging myself to say, you are, worth staying in school. You are worth pursuing a degree, and you can learn. The SAT scores wasn't something that defined your ability to learn and communicating and comprehend in college. And after I got through that major anxiety and major uncertainty about my whole college career, I was able to then engage and interact. And as I became more socially aware and more prepared for class, I started to notice the different things and the issues that I would pick up on. It all revolved around, doubt. How do we doubt ourselves around our friends? How do we doubt ourselves at our job? How do we doubt ourselves? And ultimately, how does that eliminate or limit our ability to grow. And I knew if I didn't take this chance, take this risk back in June 2011 or July 2011 to take those 8 credits and to go in it with a sense of a commitment and effort and value. I understood the value of going to college. I understood the value of taking that risk. I wasn't always confident in it, but I understood the value, what it could do for me eventually. And what I just wanted people to get out of this podcast was them to understand the value of what living your dreams really looks like, what it's really for, and how to encourage yourself, how to get past that doubt aspect. The only enemy within, or excuse me, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm. So we're fighting a self battle. It's self against self. And until we learn to really deal with ourselves and love ourselves and really learn ourselves, that's really the only time we can grow. And through that, through me learning about myself and more about what I like to do and how I could use that as a platform, as a catapult into so many other things that I got going on now, 5 years later. How has that shaped and molded me? And it's because I took the initiative. It's something that involves self. No one else is going to give it to you. So I took the initiative to dig down, right? Dig down deep and understand that this is not where I'm at for no reason at all. I have to make the most out of the situation that I'm at and then make them benefit what I want to do for my life. And whatever life is throwing at you, whether it's the end of the semester finals, whether it's, relationships, whether it's friendships or work, you have the option and you have the ability to go out and make a difference and change whatever you don't like. And that's something I really stand by today. It's something that we see so often in the world where people are uncomfortable, living in uncomfortable situations, and they oftentimes do not take the risk or make the change that's necessary to stop that pain. So if we don't want to be living with this uncertainty and doubt for another 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years, it's worth it that you take the time to invest in yourself and your dreams. We're no longer accepting the things that we cannot change. We're changing the things that we can no longer accept. And it's with that I'll leave you. This has been Tavon Harris, the Emphatic Truth. Thank you for allowing myself to be myself. Peace.